Today I'm here with Johnny, Mr. Tell It Like It Is Shreve. Johnny's an IFBB pro bodybuilder. Welcome, Johnny.
Thank you for having me, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yep,
I'm
yep,
excited.
yep.
Yeah.
So, your videos are great for three main reasons, at least for me, because I've been watching them for a long time. They're educational and entertaining, but they are also willing to call out, let's say, misinformation,
Yeah.
whether it's accidental or on purpose, regarding workouts, building muscle, burning fat, etc. And I think that's really important for a couple of reasons. The typical person, and I used to be one of them, could not detect nonsense from real stuff.
Yeah.
And if it's not entertaining, if it's too dry, the typical person is not going to sit through it. I will sit through a 20-minute video I have, or somebody else has, or an hour-long video, but the typical person is not going to sit through it if it's just not entertaining enough, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So I think you do a great blend of the two. It's educational while it's not boring, and you're willing to call out the nonsense.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, which is also not typical, unfortunately. So let me start. The first question: how has your training and coaching method, since you coach people, evolved over the years?
Well, a lot. I mean, like, so I've went from, when I was coaching, I've been coaching, but at the start of my coaching career, I was actively, a collegiate football player and, training as primarily for myself as an athlete.
Okay.
When I finished playing football and got into bodybuilding, my training, like I took a strength conditioning coach. So whenever, I take on the form of whatever I'm doing, so, when I started bodybuilding, I was like, I need to learn how to do this sport.
Right.
I need to learn the ins and outs, nutrition wise, training and whatnot. So the pursuit to that, changed how I trained from myself being like an athlete to like, strength explosive training to like more of like, the cycloplan hypertrophy end of
Right.
just building the body. So as that went, like, it was, I think like when as a coach, you find yourself, I think it's like a good thing and a bad thing sometimes is that you find yourself coaching what you know, obviously. And if
Right.
you only know one aspect, you only coach that aspect. So my training in terms of like from the start, I've had so many different you know, I would say mentors and coaches and experiences in coaching. So when I took on coaching, I was able to kind of, adjust and maneuver things around for certain people. But
Okay.
I would also use like my knowledge in terms of like, when I learn something new or I'm training differently I take it and sift out the best parts that I find work, apply it to myself, and then apply it to others. And,
Right.
so, for the last, like I would say the most of my training for a while, I would say up until a little before COVID, I would say more so like 2015 was very much so put on muscle transformation,
Okay.
very, very transformation heavy,
Heavy.
right? How to do this in the most optimal way for either you're a competitor or you just want to get in shape. To be honest, like they're almost two of the same goals.
Yes.
Everyone wants to lose fat and build muscle and get to someplace. One's doing it to the extreme, one's doing it just to, look good in clothes, which is
Yes.
completely fine. And then like, after some old injuries came back and to haunt me,
Okay.
it forced me to change the way I approach training, in the aspect of being a lot more functional because I was an athlete before already. And then I decided to kind of, it's almost like I put that on hold. Like I said, whenever I get into something, I take on its form totally. So whatever bodybuilding was at that time, what I believe it was like, that's what I do. It was strictly just cardio, eating properly, and then training to build muscle.
Right.
Right.
Got it.
Stretching was in there. You know what I mean? It was like, like bending down to tie my shoes, that's stretching.
Yes.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and then like I said, when things came, some old injuries came back to haunt me, it forced me to really take on that form of like, oh shoot, like, I want to, this injury is lifelong. It's not gonna get better. L4 and L5 issues, osteophytes and bone spurs in my sciatic nerve. And
Okay.
so I've been able to combat those things. But again, when it happened, it was like, you need to change how you're training because I want to be able to, we gotta look to the future for what we're doing. It's good to look good and whatnot, but we need to look good and be able to tie our shoes, bend over, walk upstairs, all those things forever. So that made me like, okay, we need to get back to, that happy medium of like being athletic and functional with being strong and healthy as well too.
Right.
So that's where that's where I'm at now and how much my training has evolved and more so like a very, you know, to every inception, it was very like, you know, personal experiences.
Okay.
You know, it was like, it happened to me first. I want to prevent it from happening to you. I made the mistakes like you made first.
Yes.
I'm gonna try and help you minimize those mistakes. So
Right.
a long-winded answer. I hope that answers the question.
No, that was a great answer, because it's funny. I went through a similar thing with hurting my back twice from deadlifts. I can deadlift now because I did it what I call under adult supervision, under somebody like yourself watching me, basically, to make sure I didn't do the stupid things I did by myself earlier on, and a couple other things. And now I stretch daily. This only started last year, and it makes a difference. So now,
massive. Oh my God.
kind of like, and it doesn't take long. I remember the massage therapist, every person would say, "Well, Kirk, it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long." And I'm like, yeah. But now I just stretch my quads, my hamstring. I stretch my psoas muscle. A lot of people don't stretch it. Just sitting down, tighten stuff up, because I never could bend over and just touch the floor, except when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And this guy worked on me, and one day took me from my shins to the floor, and it was like magical. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So I stretch that regularly. What does that stretch? Yeah, that's the main. Oh, and my calves. I've got a plank board. I remember this really good chiropractor telling me, this will do more. This $30 device will do more for you than anything he could ever do. Stretch the calf.
Yeah.
You take a lot, or you're driving cars, and and it doesn't take long. There's 30 seconds per leg here and there, and you're done in 2 or 3 minutes, and boom, no more pain in the knees, and like you said, bending over. The basic stuff. So I agree 100% on that. And that's a very you're very self-aware. You're very self-aware. You did this video. It's a big picture. I should have started with this. Is that the main 4 areas I want to cover is the workouts, nutrition, recovery. A lot of people don't think about recovering, and you've had videos talking about that, and any kind of supplements, that because people always love to talk about magical pills and potions. Looking for that magical pill or potion that will drop 10 pounds in a week, or whatever the case may be. But there are things out there that can assist, let's say, for lack of a better word.
Yes.
And whatever topic you think would be important to talk about.
Yeah.
So you did this really great video about how to get bigger and lean, right? And you talked about some very simple things that I know 99% of the people don't think about. Like, you talk about the importance of habits. You didn't start with the nutrition or this special workout. You talked about habits. Could you talk about that a bit?
So it's, I think habits, if we want to dive into like dopamine and whatnot, what creates some of these habits is like, when we're trying to, and I find this is like experience in for myself, but when we're trying to get someone to change their life, or they're trying this new routine, they're going to try to go to the gym now, or I'm going to do abs, or whatever they're trying to do new. It's something that they have to break an old habit to be able to do. Yes. So the old habit of, say, not going to the gym is a habit of not going to the gym. Right. So when it comes to like, getting to the gym, it's like, well, that needs to, like, you need to make a behavioral change for it to happen. Slowly make that thing become a habit to be able to like continue to do it. So, I've always like, emphasized, you're not going to be able to do this like immediate 360 change and expect results to happen. Right. It's like as easy as being like, hey, stop biting your nails.
Yes.
It's like, well, maybe for the first couple of days, you remember not to bite your first, but then by the time the third day, you're already like biting every single thing. You're like, oh, I failed. I can't. So it's like, why don't we just try not to bite one nail?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So so that's
baby steps.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny. That's exactly what the science shows. Because I'm doing a lot of research on that. I'm writing a book, and that's one of the big things they say, baby steps. We tend to New Year's resolution. I'm gonna do all this stuff, and you start, and then you bzzz. And I used to do that all the time myself. So I thought that really resonated with me when I saw you talking about that. And then another thing you talked about is the food, in terms of figuring out what you're eating now as like a baseline. Because I think people, they just start slashing, slash calories, and they don't know where they're coming from to figure out where they're trying to get to. So can you talk about that? Because I think that's some of the mistakes you pointed out in more than one of your videos, actually.
Yeah. So it is this very, like, I remember this book I read a long time ago. When I got into bodybuilding, someone gave me this book, and it was basically like the analogy, and I always use it till today, is the, you can't diet blindly. Like everyone goes to the gas station to go certain wherever they're going, especially nowadays, they know exactly how much gas they're putting in the car.
Yes.
Like no one's doing this. And then like, all right, I'm gonna go for a long road trip. It's like, right. The thing is, if you go for a long road trip doing that, your car is gonna break down. Difference with with your body is if you give it whatever, it's gonna survive no matter, it's gonna find a way to survive until it's broken down. And we want to prevent that. So you know, when it comes to starting that journey, it's like you need to find out what's going on first, right? Like at least like, you know, you weigh a certain amount, you know, maybe your exercise or your not existing exercise. And then the food you're eating is going to kind of determine what's going on with your body, whether you're gaining too much weight or whatever. So like when you're first starting off, you want to know like, all right, I need to know where I'm at first before I decide if I need to cut food out or add more food or do more exercise.
Right.
And figuring that out is like, it's very simple. It's like, you don't need, you know, you can go on calorie calculators, but the problem with that is that kind of like, it generalizes a like like, you know, groups in it's like thinking that that person is eating as they should. Like, so like for the most part, like, you know, someone weighs like X amount of weight should have their maintenance should be this, but if someone's been dieting for a long time and crash your metabolism and then they put those same numbers and it's like, well, that's not going to come out accurate, right? So what's more accurate is like track honestly any app. I don't know what app it is. I don't know if you have an app that you want to, you know, promote, whatever. Either way, just, you know, for a few couple days, just like, you know, a few days, be honest. But all the food you're actually eating in there, like, don't just like, oh, I'm going to change now because I'm going to be honest with myself. No, like, know the brutal truth. And like, oh, I'm eating this much food. Okay, cool. So now we know where to go from that. Now, do we do more cardio or do we cut out food? And for me, when I'm starting out, it's like, don't be so fast to cut fuel out. Like, let's see what you've been doing in terms of like moving. Right. So that's my biggest advice is doing that. And then like, you know, moving into the next part with the diet part is like, let's scale and see where the holes are at, or like where are some like very easy places to succeed. And for the most part, people aren't moving. or they'll include their resistance training as their part of their cardio. Right? They'll tell me, you know, I'm going to the gym 3-4 days a week, 5 days a week, 60. I'm doing the push-pull legs, whatever I'm doing. I'm like, cool. And I'm eating this much food. All right, cool. How much cardio are you doing? None. Okay, so let's fix that. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? So that, you know, that's what I always try to hammer home is like, let's see where we're at. You got to know where you're at first to know, you know, where you're starting. You know?
Yeah. I mean, practically every client I've coached, they eat either way more than they think or way less than they think. You know, the way less, like you gave the example of what if they've been dieting on and off for years, crushing things. I remember having somebody with a PhD, very smart person. They were working out like 5-6 times a week, very hard, and they were eating somewhere between 800 calories and 1,000 a day. You know, adults. And I explained to them that your body is finding ways to survive. For you to go to work and be high performing and do this routine and survive on what a child would eat, essentially. You know, show them the FDA, like, which is very conservative, and they say like a 5 or 3-year-old child is eating what you should be eating. And we have the other extreme. I eat 1,500 calories a day, and they log it, and it's like 2,800. So, that was a very insightful point, I think. And then I like the way you have the 10, 13, 15 rule to try to keep things simple for people, since, you know, I think a lot of people there, and they're accurate scientifically, but it's hard for the typical person to digest the information. Where you keep it's real, but it's simple to understand, which I like. You want to talk about your 10, 13, 15 rule?
So it's so it's my wife, she's a dietitian and I'm a nutritionist. And you know, when I was going through, you know, coaching, you know, transformations, bodybuilding, whatnot, and then like, you know, estimating calories, she was like, you know, we do this 10, 13, 15 rule. I'm like, what relevance is that? Because I would use like I would get, you know, someone's past what they've been eating, and then I would use a calorie calculator, then see what they're actually doing, and then I would, you know, estimate calories that way, at least get some type. And then I was like, that seems pretty smart. So basically, is on the grand, like a grand scheme of things, like if things are running the way they should, like let's say you're actually eating more food than you should be eating, which is which at the start of anybody during this journey is a good thing, because
yes,
it's easier to know, like, oh, now you just got to cut food out. Like, you don't got to fix your metabolism and get it back to running properly, right? So, if you're eating more than you should, great. So it's like, 15, it should be 15% of your, 15 times your body weight in calories would be like maintenance, right? 13% would be a deficit, a very good deficit, and then 10% will be even more extreme deficit. 10 times. So 15 times your body weight, 30 times your body weight would be an extreme deficit. Then 10 times your body weight would be even extreme, but also don't go past 10 times your body weight in calories, because at that point, it's very hard to distribute properly with macronutrients for you to be running optimally within a deficit. Right. And I think that's where a lot of people get in trouble, is they lower so much food, and they'll try to do like the calorie hack thing, where they'll, I'm only gonna eat protein and carbs because carbs and protein only cost 4 calories per gram, and fat's 9. So I don't want to eat too many fat because like I lose on the carbs I can get. It's like, well, now we are losing out on a very important macronutrient that's going to help us sustain a proper deficit, cognitive, hormones, all that good stuff. Well, so we can't do this. So, having this like kind of 10, 13, 15 rule kind of gives you an idea of, where you are and where you can start. And then also like, for those who are, cutting down their calories really fast right away. And, they've been on that, they're overweight, but now they're in the place where they can't lose any more weight still. And they've been doing way too much of everything and eating nothing much at all. And then you say, all right, so how much you weigh? Oh, I weigh, 180 pounds. Cool. What are you dieting? What's your calories? Oh, I'm eating 1,200 calories. Well, that's 10 times lower than the calories you should be eating.
Yeah.
And like, that should have been good enough for you to be able to lose weight, but you went even lower.
Yeah.
And then they're at that point now that they can't get any lower. Like, what do you do? Cut out more food or do more cardio? At that point, you're just doing more cardio without much energy. Overall needs, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis has dropped considerably. Your hunger hormones are spiking up and down because you don't have enough food to support doing maybe 45 to an hour of cardio plus work plus kids plus, you know what I mean? So, that was something that I thought was take home. There's so many different ways, but that has been a really easy one for people to grasp. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And it's funny, because you jog my memory on something. When people do that and they crush too much, they tend to a lot of times make it up on the weekends, and then they just go crazy on the weekend. They may lose a pound or two during the week, and they negate it between Friday and Sunday.
Yeah.
That's another thing, and probably because of all the other stuff you just talked about.
Yeah, like extremes. Like, it's I was doing a seminar last week, and we were talking about we did a talking part on nutrition first, and one of the questions was like, what do you think about cheat meals and whatever? And I'm like, well, I don't like, for the mental health aspect of this whole process, I don't like calling them cheat anything, right? It's got a negative connotation, and right away you're going into it cheating on what you've been, you're basically cheating on your diet. You're doing something wrong. I gotta, so you end up doing this thing on the weekend, and then for the most part, people just spiral from that cheat, because I think not because that it's called a cheat, but because you're going into it with this, attitude that I worked hard during the week, and now it's just, and cheat meals are for a mental break from your diet,
right?
Which is nothing wrong with that. But if they're strategically planned out, and the approach to that is just as important as the other 6 days of the week, and we ditch the name cheat and just go have a me meal. I'm like, I'm just gonna go to when I go to the restaurant, I'm like, I'm not going to cheat today. I'm going to the restaurant. I want to go. I'm gonna go with the kid or the family and get some food. I'm not gonna say like, hey, today I get to cheat. It's like, no, it's and then when it comes to that, for the most part, you should be having any cheat meals if you're trying to lose weight right now anyway. Like, let's be serious. Like what is the point of delaying fat, delaying your progress?
Yeah.
If you need a mental break from your diet, then make your diet less boring.
That's a
right?
great point.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's two types of, there's like, there's the ultra boring diet, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's the extreme low amount of calories.
Yeah.
And then there's also the extreme low amount of calories with the ultra boring
Yeah.
diet, which makes that cheat meal on the weekend not a cheat anymore. It just becomes like an overindulge,
Yes.
crash.
Yes.
And then, you're, oh man,
Then they beat themselves up.
yeah. Oh, I blew it today. Oh, might as well just do it tomorrow. And I've done it. Like trust, like
Yeah.
you've probably been through before. I have too.
Yes,
Like
I've done it.
I'm speaking straight from the heart. Like I've in competitions, I've went through bulimia before, so I understand.
Okay.
Just being able to be like, blinking and be like, I can't believe I just ate all that. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
so I understand.
Yeah.
The mental, where your body can go mentally from
Yes.
making a little bit of mistakes that can be prevented from just, being smart about, the entire process.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, because you touched on another thing about owning it, which resonated with me because I stumbled onto this myself, where I used to beat myself up because I've been fat twice before. Lost 65 pounds once, got fat again, and became pre-diabetic and blood pressure through the roof, etc., etc. And I'd buy a box of ice cream cake sandwiches, and I'd eat one or two, but sometimes I just eat the whole box, and then I'd beat myself up, and I'll buy another box tomorrow, and did this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Until I did what essentially said in the video. I just owned it. I bought the box. It's not like I was doing, and I would think to myself, you haven't done this in like 2 months, and look how much weight you've lost. It's not the end of the world. You're not gonna gain 5 pounds because of this one box. Just keep it moving, and that little psychological change, kept my sanity. So
yeah. That's something I literally was that came. It happened from it was after a season, competition season, and this was like post. So I went through bulimia. My last time I went through bulimia was like was 2 shows before I turned pro.
Okay.
The next show I did after that was like, I was actually talking to my therapist and whatnot. So it was really good that I had him there. So the next show I did, I was like, if we can do the show without having any kind of hiccups with any kind of like eating disorder, then we're good. We'll continue to compete. But if we cannot get through this next prep, we're done. We're done competing until we can mentally handle, the extremes of this sport and whatnot.
Right.
Thank God things happen really well. Like it happened next year with my pro card.
Nice.
So post that, like, from that, being a pro, and then being able to have that, mindset and understanding, being able to go into the professional ranks with having a very healthy understanding of food. I don't have a relationship with food. I have a healthy understanding of what food is and its purpose for me, right? I don't like saying you need a healthy relationship with food. No, you need a healthy relationship with yourself, so you understand what the priorities for yourself actually are, right? So anyway, so I remember after prep, I'm sitting there like, I'm having a peanut butter sandwich. I actually almost almond butter. I love almond butter.
Yes.
And I usually do like, 2 separate pieces, almond butter, jam, almond butter jam, whatever.
Okay.
And I scooped the peanut butter out. I mean, almond butter, put it on. And then I was like, oh, shoot. And then I was like, I took some off. Like, that's too much. And I put it back. I was like, and the voice in my head was like, stop making it weird.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I looked at it. I'm like, I mean, I just dieted for like, my like 5th pro show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's an almond butter jam sandwich.
Yeah.
Like, I've been dieting for like months. Like, eat it, enjoy it. This isn't gonna do anything wrong to you.
Yeah.
But immediately, I was like, oh, wait a minute, oh man, I don't. It's like chill, man. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, just eat the food.
Yes.
Like when you're a kid, you didn't sit there and you went in with your hands in the peanut butter and put it on. Oh, this is an extra. Yeah, I understand. There's, a nice scoop of, on a knife's gonna be a lot of calories.
Yeah.
But I also do know that I'm like 200 at time, 240 pounds muscle.
Yes.
Like understanding what I am, where I'm at, and the purpose of my eating. It's like I just own it. It like take away that, like, so like when my last prep was when I really, really understood that the most, because I coached myself. So, all like I coached myself. Then I had at the time Greg was just kind of like overseeing, just not overseeing, but like I would go to him, get my body fat checked. he'd be the eye, but I was doing everything else.
Okay.
So, I looked the absolute best I've ever looked. My diet was unbelievable. It was a great mix of whole foods, but then also recipes that I could make that were like, that were really good, that were satiating for me when I need to at those times of prep. And when I knew my body was, was beat up, was tired, my performance wasn't good, I went out and ate. I just went and ate. And I went, I'm like, I'm going to eat sushi today. I'm going to have like 6 or 7 rolls and eat to myself until I'm full.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go home because I know that I need this.
Yes.
Right. And I know where I was at progress as well too. So like, this isn't at 12 weeks out and I'm like, I need food right now. Like this is heavy into the prep where, where I know physiological changes are happening, mental, my mental is going to take a hit, and you basically try to ride that as much as you can until your body says, hey. And I think that's the problem we have is, especially people who are dieting, extreme dieting, contest preps or whatever, trying to get ready for a wedding, is that they wait until it's too hard. And then they're like, they don't think about the, maybe the little cues earlier that weren't as strong. Those like hunger cues weren't as strong. But, and again, we got to talk about the progress, where you are in your progress. But for me, it was like, where I'm at, your body needs this.
Yes.
And then it did need it. And I utilized it very well. And I got even leaner. And then I would ride the extra calories and the energy from the refeed. And then once I was like, oh, time for a little more of a refeed again.
Yep.
But again, it's like, it's the purpose is like, is this really conducive to your goals? Like it's saying that over and over again that people are missing. It's like, again, it'll take it back. It's not the relationship with food. It's like, it's a relationship with ourselves. And what are we doing is have a purpose.
Yeah.
Is it going to help the end goal? Right.
That's a great point. And it's funny you said listening to the cues of your body, because I think back, I remember a coach of mine told me, he went on vacation in London. He's a pro bodybuilder like yourself, and he lost weight during the week. I'm like, how is this possible? He was eating a ton of food, and I'm like, how is it? He's like, don't worry, that can happen in the future for you too. And I remember going home to Jamaica for Christmas, and I know I ate a ton of food. Jamaican Christmas cake, which is super rich, rum, marinate the fruit to marinate for like a year. I'm doing ham and macaroni and cheese, jerk chicken festival, a gazillion calories. But I didn't track food back then. And this came back, and the scale was like down a pound or 2. So next Christmas, I tracked. And I was doing 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day, guaranteed. Right?
Yeah.
And that typically I was doing 2,800 to 3,000. And again, the scale went down, and I'm like, wow, but it's funny and similar here. Sometimes I just have this urge to just eat a lot of food for this one day, and either the scale will stay the same the next morning or it will drop. And I mean, like significant amount. Like I'll order 2 racks of baby records, not one, but 2. Like for the day, it just jumps to like 3,800 calories or something. And it's just this somehow my brain is saying, no, you need food now. You just need, based on your activity level, blah, blah, blah. You need to eat some food. And every culture in the world has some thing at some point in the year where they just indulge.
Yeah.
And, there's the sense that it sends signals to you about that all is well, right?
Yeah.
That food is in abundance. We don't need to hold on to fat, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that. Just listen. But a lot of people don't listen to cues until it gets too late.
Yeah.
And in problems, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What would be some ways, thinking practically, for people to avoid this happening to them, so to speak?
Well, so, just for like to make it super simple for people, it's when there's like a balance like our body has. And, a lot of people were very, very imbalanced in terms of just like nutrition and exercise. Right. So for the most part, whoever's listening, look at what your life looks like in terms of like, let's just put it this way. We were created to, like, our body, our anatomy, muscular anatomy, skeletal anatomy. Our purpose is to run, to climb, to lift. We have levers. We're multifunctional. We are supposed to be all in shape.
Yes.
Like there's no it's and I get it. Yes, we all work. Like society's evolved. It's made everything, everything's right there for us, right? The body's sending off cues to go and hunt. There's no need anymore. So it says, hey, there's a cue, go eat some food, go up to your fridge or go cook something, right? So like, you know, our bodies were supposed to be, they should be moving optimally, you know, at least like they should be moving regularly, you know,
Yes.
outside of your work and your family. And what I'm sorry that that's not an excuse.
Yeah.
If those things are not on, your your hunger cues will be off, right? Because something is caring for the other in the body,
Yeah.
right? If you're you know, if you're eating too much food or and not doing exercise, your hunger cues aren't going to be where they should be in terms of like telling you when you need to be hungry and when you need to stop eating,
Right.
right? So it's just like, let's go back. Where can we go back to change? Okay, like, okay, I'm not really doing anything. Well, for me, when it comes to somebody, for example, someone who's like, you know, came to me and they've eaten hardly anything, they've dieted down to nothing, and I see that they're not doing any cardio, but they've lost, say, maybe 30 pounds and they can't lose any more pounds, but they still look like they're, you know, they've lost a lot of weight, but not muscle. I mean, not weight, but not fat.
Right.
Right? I mean, sorry, they lost weight in total.
Yeah.
Right.
Some muscle, some fat.
Right. So the goal for me is like, okay, so if we're not moving, let's get your metabolism start, you know, firing up again.
Yeah.
Because we can only get the metabolism by firing up again by moving.
Yes.
Right. Like, so that's the only way you can kind of like counterbalance that is like, if I need my metabolism to go up, I need to give it a reason to. So I need to move it more so then I can feed it better. So then it could, you know, send off proper hunger cues. Because when you're eating too less of food, your body doesn't, people don't understand this. Like they don't understand, like your body doesn't know where you are.
Yes.
Like you do. Like consciously, like our bodies roll. And if people listen, it's like really, and I say this, I think it's all the time. Your body is a slave to you.
Okay.
Right? It can only do what you do with it consciously. So like it's gonna tell you, it's gonna give you a hunger cue, but you have to go and get the food.
True.
And then actually eat the food.
Yeah.
Your choice of the food, how you make the food, where you get the food, all those things, it's your job.
Yeah.
And then your body will do what it does because it's in a miraculous adapting work. Like it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's gonna take whatever you give it and make you survive the next day until you can. Like you don't have to do anything to your body, but just give it what it needs to, and it'll tell you when to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? So people understand, like when you're dieting, your body doesn't know you're dieting. It just thinks that you're on an island somewhere, or there's food is scarce.
Yep.
So it's like, hey, let's slow things down because we don't know if we're getting if we're not regularly getting calories in anymore. The energy's not there. Let's slow things down a bit. And all of a sudden, when you're around food finally, or you indulge in something that spikes off like your hunger cue, like you eat like a simple sugar of some sort, and it sends off the cue of like, oh, food. Then it's like, we're getting food. Eat as much as you possibly can because we don't know the next time we're gonna get this food. Consciously, you're like, I'm hungry. I want chocolate because I want, and you just eat as much as you eat, and then you're full. And then so like understanding that it's your responsibility to give your body, what it needs, and it'll do the rest for you. Like it'll do everything you need for it. So like, find out what you're doing in your life. If you're not moving around enough, just try to do that and low hanging fruit again. Let's do some, like, I'm not doing any exercise. Cool. Let's go to the gym once. Let's go to the gym once. Let's commit once a week to the gym. Then you maybe upgrade to 3 times a week. And then now it's like something you really love the gym and you can't handle not going to the gym anymore. So now it's 4 times a week. Right. And then like, those who aren't doing any cardio, or even people are going to the gym now that are like, I don't do any cardio. Let's just do 10 minutes before you work out. Let's start, like, because the balance is the calories in, calories out is a balance. And that's where your body sends off the proper hunger cue. So if you're taking in too many calories, but not doing much, then your body's sending off the wrong hunger cues. If you're doing way too much exercise and eating much, then your body's sending off the wrong type of hunger cues.
Yes.
So you have this really terrible yo-yo dieters.
Yep.
Who are doing this thing back and forth. And it's like, find the level that you can do and commit to in exercise. Find what you can do in terms of like creating better behavioral changes, and you'll see your body start to send out the proper hunger cues. a lot of my athletes who I coach, I call my clients athletes.
Yeah.
It's empowering to me. I was like, hey,
yeah.
right. A lot of them, like when we first, get onboard them, I tell them, I'm not expecting you to follow this diet 100%.
Mm-hmm.
What I do know that where we can really hit home is the repetitions we'll do in the gym, because we'll be in the gym doing, like, when it comes to like meal prepping is a process. It's a rep.
Right. Yeah.
It's a rep. Like everything we do is a rep. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like if I prep food, that is one repetition a week, or 2 times a week, I might prep food.
Right.
Right. That is going to probably take, for someone who's brand new, a long time for them to really start prepping food.
Yes.
So for me, it's like, hey, why don't we prep the one meal that you're going to blow, right? Let's just make sure we get that one at least. But we're in the gym 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week. You're going to doing 20 sets of something with umpteen amount of reps.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much room there that your body is going through a process of learning through reps. So your body is going through creating a habit faster by moving than it is by eating. So what happens when you get your body to adapt to optimal moving? It's going to start sending off proper hunger cues to you.
Yep.
It's not, especially when you start seeing results. You're like, wait a minute, there's so many athletes I coach who have, like, who are regular people. I don't have just all bodybuilders. Like, 5% of my clientele are bodybuilders.
Okay.
The rest are regular. They're students, business, the family, mother, fathers, So it's like a lot of their change has happened because of them being able to optimize or increase their overall performance in the gym. They used to like eating certain things, but not anymore, because I like the way my arms look now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that donut doesn't really, and then I have the cool thing. I'll get these, like, the other day I went with my friend who I had that food at EC before, and I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Like, you've probably heard it before. Like, there's certain things, like, I remember I haven't had a Subway Southwest, steak, it was a steak and whatever, Southwest steak and cheese, whatever. I haven't had one for years. My daughter was born. We're stuck in the hospital. I was like, you know what, man? I remember I used to have steak and cheese, Southwest steak and cheese. I went and had that to 8. I was like, what am I eating? What is this? The same thing I used to order: double steak and cheese, double meat, double cheese, whatever. I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, sorry to people like Subway, but like for me, my taste buds
had changed.
Because the vehicle that's operating now is different.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. That happened to me with Captain Crunch. I used to love Captain Crunch cereal. And man, I got the box, poured it, put it in my mouth. I was like, whoa, it's as if I took a tablespoon of sugar and put it in my mouth. I was so overloaded. And then I was like, okay, let me go to Raisin Bran. I used to buy a Raisin Bran, and I would add sugar to Raisin Bran. But I said, let me not add the sugar. Let me take a bite. And even that was almost too sweet. And that was the last day, that I've ever eaten Crunch or Raisin Bran. I just couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
It overloaded me. To your point, your taste buds. Because I remember when I would bite a carrot, it would taste like I was biting a lemon. That's how my taste buds were.
Yeah.
Now I can taste some sweetness in a carrot.
Yeah.
So I needed a lot of sugar to digest things, pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's a great point. You touched on working out, right? So I know you did a really good video on something that a lot of people, either they don't know or they think it cannot happen, that you can build muscle and burn fat at the same time. And it happened to me when I was transforming, but could you elaborate on that? Because a lot of people they don't know or they think it's made up stuff that you can't build muscle and burn fat at the same time. So
the easiest way to put it is this. Now, to build muscle, there's in priority what you need to build muscle. Number one, need training. It needs to be hard enough. Your body needs to be under a stress that's heavy enough to force adaptation. Otherwise, if you moved your arm every day, you have massive shoulders, right? So those people in the gym you see really not make much change is because they're not training hard enough to stimulate muscle growth. After that, you need enough protein. You can have enough calories all you want. If you don't have enough protein, you're not going to build any muscle. Your body's not going to turn fat or carbs into amino acids. It doesn't work, right? Then after that, you know, obviously need enough calories to be able to help that process actually happen. Then after that, you have water and rest, and rest is massive and whatnot. Recovery, basically.
Yes.
If you're, say, the person who's like overweight, your body's in a surplus, right? Now I want to lose weight. I'm going to do more exercise. As long as my calories, again, going back to the calories, make sure that our calories in that our macronutrients are there to make sure we eat enough protein, carbs, and fats within the process. You have enough body fat and energy and nutrition for you to build muscle on the way down from losing fat, right? Because while you're doing your cardio, or, you know, you're in your deficit, the adipose tissue that's there, that's, you know, that's energy, is being used for energy while you're eating in a deficit, but still keeping the macronutrients that are there for you to be able to do that.
Right.
It's not until your body fat percentage and your calories get too low where it can't actually build muscle. So, like, for the person who's like, you know, my brother's, you know, I've had a ton of people asking this, you know, should I, like, they're like 25, I'm talking men and women, 25 to 30% body fat.
Yep.
Are scared to do cardio because they don't want to lose muscle.
Okay.
And I'm like, can you see? I'm gotta be telling. Can you see your muscle? No. Okay. So the only way to see that muscle is by losing fat.
Yeah.
And if we make sure our programming needs to be in terms of like your intensity in the gym, your intention in the gym is to build muscle, and we're fueling it enough to have muscle, to get muscle, you will lose fat while building muscle.
Yeah.
Right? Because your body is gonna adapt to stresses. If I put my body into a place, into an environment, the gym, that is going to stimulate muscle growth, like basically go to the gym and I do whatever muscle group I do, and I create micro tears, and now my body needs to recover, and the way it recovers is by nutrition. I'm giving it the right amount of calories, but that's still in a deficit from what I was eating before. I'm going to burn fat and build muscle. Right?
Yep.
It's not until you're, I don't know, maybe closer to like the under 10% body fat percentage that it's like really going to, you know, I would say like right now I'm 15% body fat. I've been 15% body fat in my off season, or like even now I'm calling it off season. I just am 50% body fat.
Yes.
I've been able to sustain and build muscle within this range.
Right.
You know, I've been able to, you know, body recomp. I've been able to transform and still build parts of my body, or even sustain the muscles well too. And I can do that within I would say 12-ish to 30 to 50% of what I have. Right. Lower than that, even from competition, and understand that from the extremes of competing. You know, we also, what we do as bodybuilders is like, that's why people think it's so fascinating. It's the ability to lose fat and build muscle. Yeah. Yes, there are enhancements in our federation and like for pros, but like there are also a lot of amateur, a lot of professional, natural ones that do the same thing.
Yep.
As long as your protein, and as long as you're giving yourself the proper amount of fuel,
right,
to be able to either sustain the muscle or enough to build muscle, you can lose fat and build muscle. It's when you get to that point of, you know, the body fat's way too low.
Yeah.
And then you're not giving enough protein and whatnot. That's when you can't build. But like, I do it on a regular basis to like, I've done it to hundreds and hundreds of people. You know, it's not like a new thing that's coming out. It's like, yo, like, and you can do it too. It's like, it's like honestly, like you guys, like, it's like, you know, dude, like I love talking, because it's like, you know, when I coach people, I was like, yo, the you know, like giving people the empowerment to be able to change yourself at will is like, that's next level. Like, you know, muscle mind connection is like, you know, it's spiritual.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
no, I know what you mean. You get that feeling. You get that feeling.
No,
you know, you said two things really jumped out at me is when you ask the question, can you see your muscles? And they go, no. You know, a lot of people don't realize. I remember it shocked me the first time I realized when you're leaner, you actually, well, obviously you look better, but you also look bigger.
Yeah.
It's very counterintuitive, because I remember So I'm 5'8", 185. I think I was 184 this morning. And I remember the dude, he's like maybe around 6 foot. He was a very big guy. And he asked me, saw me store, and he was like, hey, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, how did he start the conversation? He's like, hey, I hope this don't sound weird, but what do you weigh and what's your most? Because he was curious, like, how did I look the way I look? And he's like, oh, so you're like 200, 210 or something. I was like, whoa, no. And I told him my weight. He's like, really? You're that light? And then I explained to him, yeah, because I mean, muscle and fat, everything weighs the same. A pound of feathers is like a pound of concrete. It's still a pound, right?
Yeah.
But the muscle looks bigger. And it's the same for the ladies, because women also mistakenly think, oh, I want to look like that hot lady, not realizing that hot lady has a lot of muscle. That's why she looks hot. It's not just a guy thing, right? It's the same for the ladies. A lot of you don't realize that.
Yeah. I mean, like it's women for the most part have an advantage of a very attractive looking body, because all women, men are shaped like pears, and women are shaped like men are shaped like apples, women are shaped like pears.
Okay.
Naturally, that's where we hold our fat.
Yes,
men we hold our fat mostly like here.
Yes.
And like women hold their fat thighs, hips, right? So for the most part, if you look, most women, they have, even women that are overweight, or even they have like they're smaller in the waist a little bit, and then their waist gets bigger from the hips and down like this, right?
True.
You already have the foundation that if you added muscle to this shape,
it will look great. Yeah.
Shoo, like your bone structure is already there, right?
Yes, this is true. Right?
Now you add some shoulders to that, and now you have this beautiful look. That's, I think people don't understand when it comes to muscles, like the shape that you have, especially women, that they already have. That again, we're not trying to. I always make the point that looking good is a byfactor of being healthy.
Yes, that's a great point.
Right? Like, it's like, yes, we want to look good. Like, great. But like, let's be serious. The healthy people naturally look good inside, right? So you don't really see someone who's got their diet on point, they're like eating the right amount of food. I'm not talking about like excessive going to the gym, meathead. I'm talking like, people are conscious about their food. They go out for walks on a regular basis. They stretch. They look good.
Yes,
they look good because their insides look good. Everything's running really well, right? Yeah, we can look really good too on the outside, but there are a lot of people who look on the outside who are not healthy on the inside. Most bodybuilders are not healthy.
Okay.
The act of bodybuilding itself, being on the stage, is not healthy whatsoever.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? So it's like understanding that the byfactor of a healthy body is a good looking physique. We could change the our approach to training. You know what I mean? So yeah,
man, yeah, that's a great insight you made there at the end. I love these little nuggets you're giving us, to be honest. The next couple of questions may seem kind of silly or even simplistic, but a lot of people don't, and you kind of touched on this indirectly with the habits, right? But because many people don't know how to go to the gym on a regular basis, or work out at home on a regular basis, or whatever it is to be more active, let's say, to move more. So how do you plan your day to make sure you go to the gym, or for your athletes that you train? What do you do the night before? What do they do? Do you have a gym bag? If yes, what's in it?
So number one, it's like I pull back to like before even having a gym bag. You know what I mean? Like even for myself, because like, and it's super simple. I shouldn't say super simple. The thought is, but doing it is not as. But what can you commit to? Number one, like So like the problem with some of the approaches of going to the gym, dieting, blah blah blah, is this like trying to change their life for this new thing, or trying to fit their life into fitness and health and fitness instead of making health and fitness fit into their life.
Okay.
Right. So if I coach an array of very busy. I've changed. I have an athlete who's in med school, and he's competing as well too.
Okay.
Right. Top of his class. I've changed his programming. I don't know how many times the last maybe 6 to 8 weeks in terms of I only have 4 days to go to the gym because, studying is, I got exams coming up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, cool. So the goal still is to sustain and build muscle, whatever. So how can we optimize I'm like, what days can you commit to? I always say that. What can you commit to? Right? Because before, like, we can always go get the, pack our gym bag ready to go. We got everything in there. We went to Dick's. We got a discount for the family, whatever it is, right? Ready to go. And it's like, I don't have the time to go, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's like, the days that you don't want to go. So it's like finding the days and committing to the days that that, number one, you can do it, and number two, if you don't want to do it, it's a 100% excuse. Yeah. Like, there's like, you're just not going because those days, like, commit to those days. All right, 3 days, perfect. Now let's make sure we're prepared to go to the gym the next day or whatever day that is. I think the most important thing is, like, what can you actually do, right? And now that can go further into programming, because people are like, I want to do a push-pull legs. I want to train 6 days a week. I'm like, cool. What's your work schedule like? Oh, I work midnights, 6 days a week. And I'm like, okay, so I get 1 day off. All right, cool. So what days do you have in the morning? I work 12-hour shifts. When can you actually go to the gym?
Yeah.
I can do 4. Okay, so I'm going to do a 4-day split.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, your training splits are conducive more so to obviously your goals, but then what you can actually do in terms of frequency.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a great insight. This sounds like what you're saying is be realistic. And again, essentially take baby steps again. Don't try to, I'm going to go from couch potato to 6 days a week because that's the optimal.
low hanging fruit goals in the midst of, like, high achieving goals.
Yeah. You said that in one of your videos. Get the low hanging fruit first.
Yeah. And those are like, honestly, those are for me. Like, everything I'll coach, if somebody, you see me make a face, it's like, I'm talking to myself, like, like, I'm like, and I always say, like, progressive overload your life. Yeah. Literally, I use that as, like, that's what I went through with my mental health when I was like, let's try and win little wins at a time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a high achiever. I'm a very, like, solution finder. Like, something's going on, I need to find a solution right now. But for me, I want all the solutions. Like, no. Let's find one solution right now. And then when that one's figured out, let's figure out the next. Let's like that. So, like, I'm always, get those low-hanging fruit, man. Like,
I'm very much like you too. I'm very much like that. I gotta, like, take a step back and realize, man, you already did these 5 things. You'd be grateful you did these 5 things.
Yeah,
you might have gotten to the 20 things you wanted, but not like you did nothing today. Yeah. It's funny, you can lose track of things that way.
Yeah, 100%.
So, one area I haven't really touched on much is recovery, and I think that's the thing almost nobody thinks about. They just think about going to the gym. Like, gym is the sexy thing. It's like the dunking basketball, the driving golf. It's all about the workout. Yeah. And maybe they touch on that, but they almost never talk about recovery.
Yeah, that's for me. So recovery for me has been, like, it's been a very, it's been an evolving thing.
Okay.
When it came to me playing football, I'm the type of guy who is like, I get a nick, I'm in physio. What's wrong with it? We're good. Okay, so what do I do to make sure? Like anything, like, even to this day, I don't care what it is, But when it came to the whole, like, all of recovery, when I say all of recovery includes, yes, nutrition. But, like, that's an obvious. Let's go outside that. Recovery is like sleep.
Yes.
Right. Recovery is like water. Yeah. Recovery is like, taking proper days off. You know what I mean? Recovery is massage therapy, chiropractic if you need to, physio, like, you know how many times that I literally will have a client go to the gym months. I'm like, things are whatever. I'm like, and I'll give them stuff for, I'll give them mobility stuff to do and everything else. And did you go to physio? Like, no. Like, massage? No.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's like, NASCARs don't go around a track without taking pit stops.
Yeah.
You like to change, to go and see what's going on with the wheels or how's the engine working right now? Like, we're in the gym stressing muscle. Like we're going to the gym, we're causing stress, right? Yeah. It sends off a good release in terms of serotonin, dopamine, and whatnot, but the body's going through a stress, right? We need to de-stress, right? And all the things that happen, all the great magical things that happen to the massage therapy that you get and the water that you should be drinking and the food you should be eating happen when you're going to sleep properly, right? So most of the time, sleep is 100% something that's not, looked at as one of the biggest factors of your progress. Like the biggest factor of your progress. Like I don't like, and I used to be the type of person to, motivation, less sleep, more, something the eye. The more I'm awake, the more hours a day I have, the more successful I'll be. It's like, no, because when I'm like dozing off and I can't think straight in my, and I'm going to the washroom later than I should be in my, all these things. And I've experienced those things a lot. Going through those, like, especially with sleep. And I've made a video on sleep just recently. I saw one that Dr. Mike was doing as well too. But as well as like I got this, new Apple Watch and stuff, and I upgraded, and it's got a very accurate sleep thing. And I was like, let me just track my sleep, because I used to have I have sleep apnea, not much anymore.
Me too. Yeah.
I lost a lot of weight, and it's down a lot, which is great. But I want to see if how my sleep is. And I was like, I was on average in bed for 6 hours and is sleeping for 4.5.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and the reason why it came to this point in my life was I was noticing very obviously something was going on. Right. And I'm like, my mental is getting a little harder for me to manage my head right now for some reason. You know what I mean? Like I'm not as hungry as I should be. My sleep, going back to hunger cues. That thing's off. I'm eating later and sleeping not that much, and then I get up, I'm not that hungry because I'm still digesting food that I haven't been able to digest because I haven't slept yet. Really. You know what I mean?
Vicious cycle.
Yeah. So it's like, I was like, that's gotta change. Like we gotta get, and it has. And the funny thing is like instantaneous changes.
Yes.
It's not even like I need to do I got a progressive overload a couple weeks, and hopefully I feel it was like literally like in 2 days I felt like a brand new man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And people, I'm guilty as charged, right? Like we don't look like, it is like training is a slam dunk. Yeah, hey, we get to go to the gym, look at my physique, I've made progress, and great. Like power to you, that's amazing. Tip your hat to you. You did it. But everything is included in this journey to make sure that you can continue doing this.
Yes.
Because you can't get back sleep. That's one thing people forget too. Like you can try catch up on sleep.
Yeah.
But you're never catching, because like sleep is time.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like time and energy, you do not get back.
You can't. Yeah.
So if you miss a day of sleep, and I've missed days of sleep before, I have, trust me. But if you've missed hours of sleep, you don't get to sleep longer to make those hours up.
No.
Because every time you sleep longer is like those are hours within future that you can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
it's been scientifically shown that when people say catch up sleep on the weekend, because I used to think you could catch up, it doesn't work. Even mathematically, if you literally got the sleep you missed on the weekend, the body doesn't take this extra time and utilize the way it would have utilized it earlier. It just doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
Exactly. Yeah.
The sleep thing, yes, I wear this Oura ring because before I found I had sleep apnea, I was out of desperation trying everything.
Yeah.
And like you, it would tell me these bad scores, and I would think, I slept during the night, but why am I so exhausted? Or the brain fog you talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how quickly you can switch. Like you said, 2 nights. Because when they do sleep deprivation studies, they will deprive you down to 6 hours. Right. So like you and I and many other people are doing our own sleep deprivation studies.
Literally.
And after a couple of weeks, it's some kind of survival mechanism you can't really perceive in many cases. Like say you are seeing, 10 clients a day, and because of your poor sleep, you dropped to 9 or 8. If they interviewed you, you'd say, no, things are still the same. right? But you are very self-aware, so you're actually detecting certain things. Oh, my appetite's off, this is off, and could it be this? And you figure out the sleep. But for the typical person, they can't tie the two together, so to speak. But it's the transformation is amazing. Like literally one of the best things you can do if you're trying to lose weight or build muscle is to just go to your bed. And it's difficult because I've kept failing many times. There's so many distractions to keep you going. But yeah, it's critically important.
It's funny because like I hope my buddy sees this video. Me and one of my best friends were having a little argument.
Okay.
On recovery, but it's like two things. I was watching your TEDx and it was like ignorance and arrogance. I'm like, genius. That is very true. You know, it's arrogance that you think you could do it on your own, and it's ignorance just because like we don't know, and it's not people's fault that they don't know.
Yes.
Like, and that's what people have to understand this one. And I anybody who's came to me and they've tried, I'm like, yo, good for you. Like, like no one's teaching us this in school. Like this should be taught in school. Like I did not need to know about certain parts of my history. I didn't. Like it's important to know history, I guess. You know what I mean? But like I wouldn't mind knowing how to use the body that I'm living in on a day-to-day basis.
This is true.
Like people have no clue. Like I'll tell people like, hey, tell me what this bone is. And they'll be like, I don't know. I'm like, what this muscle is. I don't know. I'm like, you've been in this thing for 30, 40, 50 years, and you have no clue what it is. That's scary to me.
That's a great point.
That's terrifying. You think about it. You wake up every single day. You know exactly what kind of car you're in.
Yes.
You know exactly what kind of car. You know exactly if you need to, if you're stuck on the highway and you pop tire, everyone who has a car knows how to change a tire.
Yeah.
Probably. At least comes with a thing anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're injured, your battery is done, you probably know, hey, it's probably the battery or something. Right? You know something.
Yes.
You know some solution for your own car that you've maybe had for 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
But you've been in life for like 30, 40 years plus.
Yeah.
20, 30, 40, no clue how it works. Right. So it's not your fault. You know what I mean? It is sheer ignorance, and it's our job to put that out there.
Yeah.
When it came to the recovery thing with my friend, it was like, he's talking about cold plunges and cold showers. And I'm like, and he put a post up. I'm like, oh, okay, look, those are good to do.
Yeah.
Great for inflammation. The studies are showing really not good for building muscle, but like really good for inflammation and some other benefits. If the other things are aligned.
Yeah.
So like if I have high cholesterol, you're gonna go in a hot cold tub or go a cold shower?
Yeah.
It's like if you're, you'll go into a cold tub or a cold shower, but you won't get an hour extra of sleep. A lot of the issues we have, disease, ailments, mental health, most of those things can be like, I wouldn't say completely fixed, but like a majority of those things can be easily fixed. I'm talking by just sleeping 2 more hours, drinking a little more water a day, going for a 20-30 minute walk every other day, doing those things alone are going to add years onto your life before we try this like new thing. I want to go get a new cold tub to sit in the morning, fill up with water, then sit there for like, and hopefully I can sit it long enough before you get the other really easy low-hanging fruit things. Like,
what happened, Johnny? It's a couple of things. One, we're looking for quick fixes, easy fixes. I want to transform the body overnight. You can build even just naturally an ounce of muscle a month. So a couple of months you get a couple of pounds, but most people are by the end of the year at any rate. But most people can't think, well, in 5 years, that's 20 pounds of muscle. If you get 20 pounds of muscle, you'll look noticeably different. But they're not going to, I need it now. I want it now. And then they quit, right? So similarly, you telling them, well, just go to bed an hour more per night. Yeah, but I'd rather go take this special supplement or this sleep hack, or there's always some kind of hack, right? Somehow to get by on 5 hours of sleep and be, I'll sleep when I'm dead and all these other crazy statements. Or I eat sleep, I eat stress, I eat sleep for bread, whatever. It doesn't work. They want something exotic and sexy. Sleeping more is just not sexy, right? If you do a video on building your biceps, you're going to get a gazillion views. You do a video on sleep, not a gazillion views, right? Sleep is not sexy enough, but if they're not sleeping, like you accurately said, all the other things doesn't matter. That cold cryotherapy thing is not gonna help you nowhere as much as you getting to sleep. You know?
Yeah.
This is so true. This is so true, man.
Yeah.
That was very brilliant. They talked about the massage therapy. That I remember the first time I got a really good massage, I got off the table feeling like I had a new body. I remember experimental moving my arms and legs around, like I felt literally like I had a new body. And I agree with you. I think a lot of people are missing it when they're stuck in some kind of plateau.
Yeah.
It's not just, maybe they're not, aside, when you take aside not training hard enough, the nutrition, etc., they may literally just be inhibited, whether it's something not firing right or some other kind of thing that they will never be able to detect until a professional puts their hand on them and go, oh, wow, look, I remember for me, my right glute wasn't firing correctly, which my left quad kept pulling because I had this car accident. I had a fraction dislocate my hip. And when the guy fixed it, my leg press went from 800 to 1,000, just like that.
Yeah.
Literally just went that day. And I remember thinking, this is incredible. But he said, you know, you were literally like using a leg and a half.
Yeah.
You know, and the other leg was compensating why the muscle kept pulling. Or like I mentioned earlier, being able to bend over and touch my toes, or you mentioned bending over. You know, you can't do it. But if somebody would work, who knows what they're doing, worked on you and loosens the right things up or fix them, or, you know, I remember I'd have elbow pain sometime, but it was something to do with my left rear delt. 2 minutes of manipulation, no more elbow pain. But I've never figured that out. So, that stuff is really, really important. So the last thing I'll touch on is supplements, magical pills and potions.
Got them all right here.
Okay.
Oh, no, I was joking.
There you go. There you go. So I mean, some of these things definitely work, right? But maybe they're not, you know, magical. Like I said, they don't transform you overnight. I mean, things you buy over the counter at any rate, right? But they can assist you, right? And the key thing is they supplement. They don't replace good diet, hard proper programming, etc. What are some things you would recommend, and perhaps some things you would say are maybe overhyped and it's a waste of people's money, to be honest?
Well, staples for me, and like with most people in their diet, when it comes to like supplements, would be like micronutrient supplements, and then you obviously like your, you know, your performance supplements in a sense, where that'll be like, you know, creatine, whatever. But for the most part, I'm looking at something for gut health. You know what I mean? You know, oh my gosh, I just forgot the name. A bunch of bacteria. Probiotics. Oh my god, I got a brain fart. Probiotics. You know, probiotics. You know, if you need digestive enzymes, whatever. But like, you know, omega-3 fish oil, you know, probiotics. You know, if you can get like some kind of like blood work to figure out where you actually need, you know, micronutrients, because a lot of times people are overtaking or overdoing vitamins that they might not even need, right?
Good point.
But like, you know, that, and then creatine is proven to work. I think that for everybody, and it's not just for your muscles, for your brain. Like people forget about that aspect of creatine as well too. They always thinking like, oh, creatine is for muscles. It's like, no, it's for brain, right? It's for both. It helps out all. And it's great, and it's 100% something I'm using and I will never probably not use.
You're right.
You know, and when it comes to like, you know, the pre-workouts and, you know, the BCAs, whatever, you know, pre-workouts have some, they work. They give you they give you advantages in the gym. If it's going to increase your overall performance by like 2%, 3%, that's great. You know, do you need it 100%? No, you don't. But like, let's be serious. Who doesn't want 2, 3% or 1, you know, increase in their performance to be able to help them with their goals, right? BCAs are like things that I think people overhype. You know, if you're eating enough food, enough meat, you know, enough protein in your diet, is not necessarily needed. But what I like about, you know, I'm not gonna say like plug, well, like with ours, with our BCAs,
please do. Yes,
we have pink. So we have basically amino acids, pink Himalayan sea salt, and coconut water powder.
Okay.
Right, and then it has its essential amino acids.
Yeah,
I like that. It has a little bit of taurine and whatnot too. That is more so our supplement for like, it's like an intro workout, electrolyte stabilizer in a sense.
Okay,
right. Gotcha. So for me, that's doing the job of keeping my electrolyte balance stable. So, you know, having the pink Himalayan sea salt and coconut water powder, taurine, whatever. When you're in the gym and you're sweating out, you know, salt, you need to replace that because salts can help with muscle contractions. Right. So that for me is a product that makes sense. I use it because I'm a heavy salt sweater.
Yeah.
I sweat salt gets in my eyes. I feel like someone threw like chemicals in my eyes, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
For that, when it comes to pre-workout, if you're a caffeine person, you can get pre-workouts with caffeine. If you don't want it, you can get pre-workouts with just things that are gonna help with push you past that lactic acid buildup you got. Right? So it's gonna help you perform or increase your intensity in the gym.
Yes.
Do you need it? You can just really work out with just caffeine if you want to. But again, it's like something that what do you actually need, that your body needs, or how's this gonna help your life convenience wise, right?
Yeah.
Protein for me is a convenience only thing.
Yeah.
For me is like, I know that, some parts of the day, like I am not hungry, but I know I need to eat.
Yes.
I can easily scoop of that with some almond milk, almond butter. I get my calories, some blueberries. I'm good to go, and it tastes great.
Yes.
It's sometimes easier to get my protein in with a shake than it is like eating a
I agree.
or chicken or whatever, right? So, but again, like I minimize those too. It'll be like 1 to 2 shakes a day. The rest of it's gonna be whole foods, right? But yeah, that's like those are like my staples. I have a test booster I use. It's got long jack in it.
Okay.
Trust me, coming from a professional bodybuilder,
yes,
I'm not expecting the testosterone. I'm not telling a test booster to do what actual testosterone does.
You're right.
I'm no longer on. I've been off since 2020.
Okay.
Crazy. Since 2020, October. I've been off of everything.
Okay.
So the only thing I've been supplementing religiously is the 5 milligrams of creatine, and then the exact dose for the test booster.
Okay.
But I definitely feel a difference in my overall sustaining my performance ability in the gym. Now, is it giving me the same that? And let's be serious. When it comes down to it, supplements were made to supplement what the performance enhancing drugs actually do.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So, when someone isn't like, performance enhancing drugs, 100% will help you build muscle.
Yeah.
But then there's the other parts of the side effects and stuff like that that are detrimental. Yeah. Also, those performance enhancing drugs more so were originated for people with muscle wasting diseases.
Yes.
Cancer patients, those kind of things here to help combat muscle wasting, right? So that's what that's for. Then those it slipped out into the public, into cancers, and then like the supplement industry is like, whoa, wait a minute, I got an idea.
Yeah,
let's make a bunch of stuff that people want to help them with their and market it enough that it'll give them somewhat of a benefit that the steroid stuff will get, but won't give you near
close to that. Yeah.
But again, when it comes to it, it's just still like, what does your body actually need? What is it like? What's necessary? None of it's necessary. Not one is necessary more so than like, and that's thinking that that's the one person is doing everything right nutrition wise.
Yes.
Right.
True.
But for most of us who can't get in all of our protein in whole foods, protein powder is great. For some of us who need a little extra boost in the gym or want to increase their performance in the gym, whether they're a little more tired or they want to last more with the lactic acid buildup, pre-workout's great.
Yes.
You want a little more muscle because you want to get a little bigger. You want more muscle. You want your glutes to grow bigger. Outside of what you can actually do, creatine's a great supplement to use as well, too, right? And then when it comes to like making sure that your digestion is working well, because if your digestion ain't working well, good luck with everything else running right. Going to the gym with bubbly guts, you're not focused, right? You're getting out of the washroom, right? So making sure those things, probiotics, drinking enough water, you're good, your proper micronutrients. Keeping the tubes clean, I would say, right? Those are my my quick and easy supplement go-tos. We got green powder too. I like using green powder. Again, I'll put that in with my shakes.
Okay.
If you're, again, supplements, right? You should be eating greens anyway. You should be eating greens.
Yes.
If you have a hard time eating greens, there's something there that can help supplement that. That's not saying have greens supplement every time you have a meal.
Yes.
Right. So that's that's my core.
Well, that's great advice because I'm sure you've seen this even way more than me, coach way more people than me, is it's hard for a lot of people to increase their protein, especially initially.
Yes.
eat enough food. It's a shock to their system because they've been
Yeah.
hardly eating any protein for so long. But a shake, you don't need to be hungry, and it's very simple. Add water, shake up, and drink.
Well, you look at the, you know, when people are asking, I'm sure like, how much protein should I eat? Well, basic 1 to 1 grams of protein per body fat or body weight. Sorry, body weight. And if you're not from the States, then it's like, you know, 2.2 grams per your body weight in kilograms, which equals out to be the same amount, regardless. But if you look, like I was talking to a recent client, she's 130 pounds protein wise. Hard to get my protein in. 130 grams of protein. I'm like, you understand that like 1 scoop of protein is 20 to 25 grams of protein.
Yeah.
Right. You eat 3 meals, and add a shake. You've already hit your protein.
Exactly.
Right. And like you could do 2 scoops of protein.
Exactly.
Right. Like, there you go.
Very
right.
Easy. Yeah.
Super simple. And it's like, and their mind's like, oh wow, you've had a shake before. Like, oh, I had a shake before and I wasn't that full. It's like, of course.
Yes.
You're eating a full course meal. Right? So, you know, it's you know, that's if getting your protein is, and that's why, for the most part, that's the only reason why protein powders are here.
Yeah.
Right. People have a hard time getting in their protein.
True. Agreed.
Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Right?
You know, the BCAAs and EAAs, that's another thing that's pretty good in the sense that it definitely helps with recovery, like the DOMS and the delayed onset muscle soreness and stuff like that. And again, for people who not eating enough food. Yeah. Right. Because you can say, well, if you get everything perfectly, you don't need them, but it's difficult for the typical person to get everything perfectly.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's pretty good. Is there any supplements you think you would not recommend, or you think that are just overhyped?
Weight gainers.
Okay.
Weight gainers. weight gainers 100%. You know what weight gainer is? Weight gainer is just a regular protein with added crap in it.
Okay.
Right. Right. And like if you want to gain more weight, like how many people really need to gain more weight?
True.
So when it comes to like weight gaining supplements or products, like the weight gaining proteins marketed mostly to kids, they think that if I eat this, trust me, when I was a kid, I got Mammoth 2500 was a weight gainer, right? I thought I was gonna put a bunch of muscle on all day to run. I was into the bathroom more than, it was honestly like 30 minutes on the dot.
Yeah.
I had that shake of like, wow, and I'd be gone. So like, like weight gainers are not necessary. Let's be serious. If you don't have to add, weight gainers are basically a protein with added calories that are not necessary.
Yeah.
Right. If you need to add weight to your diet, and you're, you know, if you're in a place you need to add weight, you know, you're trying to put on weight, whatever, have a protein shake, add some calories, like some almond butter or peanut butter, you know, some blueberries, some, you know, some oats, whatever, not extra sugar and ingredients that, for the most part, it's not gonna give you what you're thinking it's gonna give you. Weight gainers for me are a no. That's the biggest one. I think there's other ones that are just intro workouts.
Okay.
Intro workout carb drinks.
Yes.
Right? For me, is just a waste of calories, because if you're eating like you should, there's a very small minority of people who need intro workout anything. And if you're not in Tour de France or, you know, at like 5% body fat in the last few weeks of prepping, a little bit of whatever to there's no need to have more calories during your workout. Because if you ate an hour before, you're still digesting that food, and you're still digesting the other 2 meals you probably ate. You know what I mean? So those two, and those are both in the categories of like useless extra calories. Weight gainers and intra shake.
Yes.
You know, there's no need for that, right?
Yeah, I saw my doctor the other day, and she was funny, you know, we're looking at my sodium. It's always like I run in the middle or slightly low, so I always have to salt the hell out of everything. And she was telling me that, you know, she had one of her clients came in and asking her about drinking electrolyte drinks and stuff, and she had to explain, listen, you're not really working out. This is older patient. You don't need that stuff. And she was saying, I need that stuff, you know, but not this patient. Is like, you just need to drink water. You're good. Because she's like, but it's so hot out there. And but you're not out there. You're not out there sweating. You're not out in the gym sweating. You're just doing your regular moving around. So that's another thing I think people overdo. You see them in the gym. I saw this guy, this huge bottle of Gatorade or something, and he's on the Stairmaster, and I'm like, man, you're like negating your Stairmaster.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Gatorade Zero, cool, but
yeah, I don't think it was. They're just drinking they're not working out like you, right? So they don't need anything like that. To your point, and they're most likely eating enough food already. But there's this myth that I worked out, therefore I should go drink something, or
it's part of the fitness club, right? I go to the gym now, so I need to go to the the health store and get all the stuff that it offers. It's an exclusive store for us people that need everything that's on the wall. And no, you don't.
No, you don't. You don't. Great words of wisdom, man. Any last things you'd like to say? Any last message you'd like to leave to people, or anything you want to promote? By the way?
Well, I mean, follow me on YouTube. Great. My name Jonni Shreve on everything: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, the works. But yeah, man, just like honestly, like low hanging fruit. If you already been working your butt off on something, make sure you're rewarding yourself. Like, I'm not saying reward yourself by eating, but like make sure you acknowledge the work that you're doing and give yourself the credit. I feel like a lot of people, when they go through this process, they don't give themselves the credit on the way. Pat yourself on the back for the small wins. All the time, and then like understand this thing is a lifelong journey, so there's no rush. Right. I'm not in a rush to the grave, so I'm not in a rush. You know what I mean? So this is a daily thing. If you fall down on your face, you're going in the right direction.
Fall forward.
Right.
No, that's great words of wisdom. Great words of wisdom, man. This exceeded all my expectations. You've shared some fantastic knowledge. You've dropped several nuggets. Like, don't call it a cheat meal. I love that. Not our relationship with food. I have an understanding of food. I'm never going to rewatch this because you dropped so many good nuggets here. And then, knowledge really is power, because a lot of people try. They just don't know what you know. And they put in the effort and they don't get the results, like a sledgehammer trying to whack down a tree. And they're like, and they get fed up. But if they only had an axe that you could give them, whether they hire you or they watch your videos and it's like, damn, man, this guy's, I got an axe now. Look, they're chopping the tree. Progress. And then it becomes a domino effect. Then they're motivated. You said it earlier yourself. They're all motivated to keep doing it because they're finally seeing results. So you got a really great message. It's very impressive. Like I said, it's educational and entertaining, which is a great combination. So
thank you.
You're doing a great job, man. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
I'd love to be on again, man. Whatever you want, man. I love it.
Okay, I'll take you up on that offer.
Yes, sir.